books, rhymes, and life.
So we're moving on. No skips albums for books, rhymes, and life list. It's dark and hell is hot. DMX.
It's my best
Yeah, man.
DMX.
It is really hard to it's really hard to argue with X on any list. Really? It's hard to argue against. I
Right.
mean, is there a list that I mean, other than like, nicest rappers or nicest
Friend.
rappers. Like he seemed like he was a nice guy, but not on the microphone. I mean, X is on a lot of lists, man. It's dark. You could have put, and actually one of us did put two of his albums on there. There's probably three albums you could probably of his that you could put on there. Well, since you did do that, Camo, why don't you start us off?
Man, it's dark and hell is hot. Woo. One of my the reason I had to put this on the list is that's actually one of my favorite albums of all time. And there's a lot of hip hop out there. So that's a big statement. But probably tied for my favorite DMX album. Maybe I edge it out a little bit more than Flesh of My Flesh, but I usually those two are tit for tat. So man, the skits, everything, an intro, an outro. If somebody coughs or sneezes in the background, you love it. Everything on this album. Do I need to go on?
Absolute, you making a face, man. You got something to say.
No, I mean, definitely not in a negative way. No. First of all, we got introduced to arguably DMX at his best, which is odd since this is his initial project. So there's a song on this album called Stop Being Greedy, where he initially were two different people having a conversation in a song. And not only did he take on vocally like two different tones in the voice, but the lyrics, the style, the delivery were as two different people. We're looking at genius level here. I mean, we praised Eminem when, Guilty Conscience came out, right? Stan, just artists that can do that are very
Big.
special. Big, yeah. Artists that can do that are very special because that could have been a whole nother song. Like he could have took them bars and literally made a different song. That's how different of the personalities that were portrayed on that track. One of my favorites and literally Flesh of My Flesh maybe edges it out for me as being my favorite DMX album because it has my favorite song on it. But other than that, you can't argue.
Yeah, It's hard to describe a no skip album other than saying that every song on it is great. But he did two albums worth in that year of great songs. Now, I know part of it is that his style was so new and that we loved it. Like, that was a big part of it, I know. But your style can only carry you so far. There are plenty of rappers out there with great styles that I don't want to listen to two albums in the same year from. And he was not one. He could have done three that year. And I would have got that third one. And I mean, he was the first artist with two #1 albums to drop in the same year, right?
Yeah.
Or that dropped
Yeah.
#1 in the same year.
And I think the magical part about that, hold on, with Camo, excuse me, is the fact that it didn't sound like he finished one album and then had a bunch of tracks left over to make a second album. Like, he literally made a second album that was as dope, if not doper in some regards, than the first. He did not have a sophomore jinx, which is crazy when you think about the time span in which he dropped the second album.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. It didn't sound like those were leftover tracks that from the first one that was just in the vault, but
They gave it a personality.
Mm-hmm.
It did have its own personality, but it did, however, feel to me like it picked up right where that one left off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he added another Damien. The skits helped pick it up. Yeah, they really put it. It was produced well. It got put together well.
Yeah, that's
even
what
though they apparently rushed it.
Yeah, they were trying to empty the vault out as Russell was selling Def Jam off, right? But
they won't nothing left on.
Yeah, to me, when I heard that, I was kind of going, wait a minute. all these were in the vault. Like these didn't make the first out. Y'all were just sitting on these.
Yeah, what did he have left? I know he still had something when he passed away. I'll take another X album.
Books, rhymes, and life.